This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It's Tuesday, August 18th.
Well, right now there is a lightning-started wildfire currently in the Cold Creek area of Wheeler Pass on the Prump side of Mount Charleston. Fire crews are en route and 2 small air tankers have been ordered, as well as 2 hand crews. The U.S. Forest Service Incident Commander Ray Johnson says that the size of the fire is approximately 40 acres near the coal mine kilns at this time. Speaking of fires, the Loyalton fire near Reno is burning at about 30% containment. The lightning-started fire is about 44,000 acres. The fire originated near the town of southwest of Mount Coldbreath and is burning north and east adjacent to the areas of Buckworth Pass and Hallelujah Junction. Well, the Nevada Supreme Court is giving a convicted sex offender a second chance to prove his innocence. A new trial for Jason Gao is scheduled to start February 2nd.
In January 2019, Jason Gao was sentenced to 37 years to life in prison by Nye County 5th District Court Judge Robert Lane. That followed a trial in which a jury found him guilty of several charges, including statutory sexual seduction, incest, child abuse and neglect, lewdness with a child under 14, and unlawful use of a minor in producing pornography or as the subject of a sexual portrayal in a performance. Monday, Gao was back in district court to set a date for a new trial. Gao appealed his conviction to the Nevada Supreme Court. He and his attorney, Jonathan Nelson, argued that during his original trial, the district court abused its discretion in several ways, including restricting his cross-examination of the state's primary witness regarding potential bias. At trial, Gao tried to question then-Detective David Berukowitz about the county's settlement of a lawsuit Gao had brought against the county. In testimony, Sheriff Sharon Worley said Berukowitz was involved in the wrongdoing leading to the settlement. Worley testified Gao's lawsuit did not bias the investigation, but Gao disagreed and recounted that the civil lawsuit involved mishandling of evidence, that the lawsuit went to an inherent bias by law enforcement, and that it would be helpful for the jury to hear. Despite those arguments, the district court restricted Gao's questioning of now Lieutenant Berukowitz, finding that Gao's inquiry was not relevant, would confuse the jury, and, if allowed, would be more prejudicial than probative. In his appeal, Gao also argued that the district court abused its discretion by admitting improperly authenticated text messages and by admitting improperly noticed emails. Gao told the court that because these errors were not harmless, reversal is warranted. After hearing the evidence, the Nevada Supreme Court agreed with Gao's assertions. On June 30th, the court ordered Gao's judgment of conviction reversed and remanded the matter back to the district court for a new trial. At Monday's hearing, Jonathan Nelson made a request to withdraw from the case and allow a public defender to handle Gao's defense at retrial, but Judge Lane asked that Nelson continue in his role, noting his familiarity with the case. Gao was originally taken into custody and charged back in 2013, but it was more than 5 years before he would go to trial. Barring any scheduling conflicts due to COVID-19, Gao's new trial starts February 2nd.
All right, thanks so much, Brad, for that report. And don't grab that remote. When we return, we'll tell you about all the big bucks being spent on the presidential campaign trail. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest-reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, the Biden-Harris ticket is outspending the Trump campaign in the race for the White House. And Chinese e-commerce company J.com reports income and revenue well above expectations. Angela Miles has more in today's Business First Brief.
Topping our news, a big week for the Democrats with the national convention underway. Vice President Joe Biden, along with running mate Kamala Harris, are expected to accept the Democratic nomination Thursday night. CNBC reports last week the Biden team outspent President Trump's team in Facebook advertising for the first time since early June. Biden's ad spending was $6.1 million compared to Trump's $4.6 million. According to the New York Times, President Trump's team plans a major digital ad buy during the days of the Democratic convention. A sign China's business world is turning around. JD.com, the China-based e-commerce company, reports its profit and revenue are well above expectations. Revenue rose to $28.5 billion. The stock jumped on that news.
Thanks so much, Angela. And there's a conservation alert issued through tomorrow, and you should prepare for the possibility of rotating electric outages. A persistent record-breaking heat wave in Nevada, California, and surrounding areas in the western states is causing a strain on supplies, and consumers should be prepared for the possibility of rolling outages during the late afternoon and early evenings through Wednesday. There is not a sufficient amount of energy to meet the high amounts of demand during the heat wave. Consumers are urged to lower energy use during the most critical times of day between 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. when temperatures remain high and solar production is falling due to the sun setting. Please set your air conditioning thermostats to 78 degrees, and if health permits, please defer use of major appliances. Turn off any unnecessary lights in your home and unplug unused electrical devices. Close any blinds and drapes and use fans whenever possible. You can also limit your refrigeration by making sure that that door remains closed at the most critical times of day. Make sure that you also take steps to prepare for the conservation alert by doing all of the following before 3 p.m. Pre-cool your homes and lower your thermostats, again, to 72 degrees. 78 is optimal. And you also need to be sure that you charge any electric vehicles that you may have, and make sure that you turn off any electrical devices like laptops and computers when they are not in use. Be sure to make sure that your pool pumps are running at proper times and that they are not running during critical times, mornings or late afternoons. And whenever students return to Hafen Elementary School, they will have new bins in which to store all of their school supplies. We spoke to a local teacher at Hafen who saw a need for those bins, and she actually reached out to others to help, and they are actually helping support our students in the community.
We had a need for student supplies, and so I reached out to my realtor. I recently moved to Pahrump and told her that we were in need of some funds, and did she have a way that maybe we could have the community involved? And she said absolutely, and she said let me reach out to some agents, and she did, and then she texted me back and said how much do you need? And I said well, we'll take any amount, but the amount that we need total for this specific supply is $750. So this means that we don't have to ask our families to provide any additional funds or an additional supply, because we will have the funds to purchase these. They're bins for the students to use in the classroom for their supplies, so we don't have to worry about them accidentally sharing with each other.
You know, it was a really easy answer to an easy question. Pahrump Valley Properties, if you look, we're sponsoring, the Little League, Scholastic Book Fairs, flex seating in the classrooms. So when Michelle, one of the local teachers, reached out and just said, it's a unique time. We have unique needs, and it's not really something that was built into the budget. We thought about all the families that have been struggling during this time, being asked to put up more money for supplies, the teachers who are already pulling from their own pocketbook for, masks and sanitizer and everything, digging deeper for some of this, and it didn't feel like a good fit. So I actually texted out real quickly to my office, and I think within about 15 seconds, if that, we'd raised $750. We'd met the number. I texted the teacher, and I think she about cried. So, we were happy to help. We live in this valley, and a lot of our agents raise kids here. We were so happy to help. We were honored to be asked.
We have a group text that we keep open all the time that all of our agents just kind of chime in. And one of my agents, Lauren Davis, she reached out and she said, hey, this school needs a little help. And we're definitely a family-oriented company. So anytime it comes to family or kids, we're there to help. So she said she needed $750. The agent stepped up. We had it within minutes. The company kicked in $300, and then agents picked up the rest. So yeah, they're awesome agents. They're rock stars.
All right, RAM will soon be returning medical care to Pahrump. We'll tell you about that story and more right after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Well, I'm excited about this. Remote Area Medical, or RAM for short, returns to the Pahrump Valley in October. The event offers free medical, dental, and vision care for local residents. They're even offering mental health. And there's a big change coming this time around. Ryan Muccio talks about the change and what this event means for our community.
RAM, Remote Area Medical, we're very excited, is coming back for our 5th year here in Pahrump in October, the first weekend, first Saturday and Sunday of October. And we have very exciting news. Because of COVID-19, we're instituting some new procedures, and people will actually be able to make appointments this year. So the appointment line will open up September 14th. We're very excited, and so we'll make sure we get with you and get that phone number out to everybody so they can call in and make their appointment. So it'll be held at the Innovative Education Building on the Pahrump Valley High School campus, right there on the corner of Calvada and Mount Charleston. Yes, RAM and the United Communities Coalition, we're taking every precaution possible to make sure that we keep this safe for our volunteers and our patients. Masks will be required to enter, and we'll have sanitizing stations. The place is actually going to be fogged every single night with sanitizer, so there's a lot of different things we're doing to keep it safe. We can use general volunteers, we can use dentists, doctors, optometrists, ophthalmologists, social workers, whole gamut. So if you're interested, just call the United Communities Coalition, 775-727-9970, and let them know you'd like to volunteer. They're taking time out of their busy schedule and time away from their families to help us, and it's free medical, dental, vision, and mental health. People can walk away with a pair of free glasses if they need them. They're made right there on site. Dental will be doing extractions, fillings, and cleanings. Medical will have women's health exams, pap smears, certificates for free mammograms, general health exams, etc. The county has been very grateful or gracious to us the last 2 years, have donated quite a bit. We hold a couple fundraisers. We just held a virtual fundraiser. But yes, if anyone wants to donate, they're more than welcome, and we would really appreciate it. They can go to United Communities Coalition, donate to United Communities Coalition, just make sure they mention it's for RAM.
Because you normally have the spaghetti dinner, and so
that's
not going to happen.
That's
so
not going to happen.
Money.
We are, yeah. And we're doing pretty well. This year's clinic will be scaled back a little bit because of COVID, so it's going to cost a little bit less. So we're doing okay, but we could still use some additional funds. Yeah, couldn't hold our spaghetti fundraiser, so we took it online to GoFundMe, and it worked out pretty well. It'll be the first weekend in October, Saturday and Sunday. I believe it's the 3rd and 4th. It'll be held in the Innovative Education Building on the Pahrump Valley High School campus on the corner of Calvada and Mount Charleston. Again, appointments are available this year. It's very exciting. For more information, you can call the United Communities Coalition, 775-727-9970.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And a mask is a must these days whenever you're leaving the house. But you might be wondering what type of mask provides the best protection. So whether your mask is homemade or store-bought, Cleveland Clinic's doctor says that evidence shows that no matter what, wearing one makes a difference.
The spread of the virus really goes down in areas where people wear masks. And it can go as down as 4 to 5 times reduced risk of infection when people in the community are wearing a mask and whether they're not wearing a mask.
One recent study analyzes 14 commonly used masks. Researchers recorded respiratory droplets that escaped from each mask while the person wearing it was talking. Dr. Dwake was not involved in the research, but says results suggest, with the exception of neck fleece, nearly all cloth mask types reduce expelled droplets. They also work much better than we originally thought and perform close to surgical masks. Data shows the fitted N95 mask was most effective. Surgical and cloth masks performed well too. However, the bandana, knitted mask, and neck fleece were least effective. Authors suggest that the neck fleece actually seemed to disperse large droplets into smaller droplets, which may cause them to be airborne longer, leading to increased infection risk. But wearing a mask is only one part of preventing COVID-19. Social distancing and regularly disinfecting your hands are also important.
Taken together, I think, these are very powerful in preventing the spread of the infection. Each one alone is good, but not sufficient. If you do them all, you minimize your risk of spreading or getting the disease much more than just each one by itself.
Dr. Dwake adds that a mask needs to be worn over your mouth and nose to be most effective. He says everyone should wear a mask, even if they don't have symptoms, because some people with COVID-19 are asymptomatic but still contagious.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, let's take a look outside as we head into break. Your weather is next.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Good evening, Nevada. It's John Kohler for KPVM News and the weather report. Looking hot. How hot? Muy caliente. How's that? It's hot. 98 degrees in Fernley, 66 for a high tonight. Fallon's got 101, looking at 65 tonight. Oh, not too bad in Fallon. Carson City, your capital, 97 degrees, 63 for a low tonight, 98 and 64. Down in Tonopah, let's look at Goldfield, 100 degrees as we creep south, and that's where pretty much it's all staying up above 100 degrees, 65 for a low tonight. Beatty's got 110, 76 for a low. And Margosa, where the wind comes whipping down the plain, 114 degrees. Oh, 79 tonight, though. That's downright pleasant. And Vegas, 114, 87 degrees. Again, kid stuff compared to Death Valley, 125 degrees. Oh, man. That's not even as hot as it was a couple days ago. So it's, we're liking the trend, Shall we take a look at the local forecast? Let's look at this. Oh, feeling good at 111 degrees. Man, get out by the pool. Stay hydrated, water your pets, make sure everything's, copacetic with your animals. This hot weather can tear them up. 11% humidity, not too bad, not too sticky. Here in beautiful Pahrump, sunrise this morning at 6:05, and it was gorgeous. What can I tell you? Low tonight will be about 82 degrees. That sounds downright pleasant. And the humidity's picking up a little bit. Maybe we'll see some rain. Maybe there's some clouds out there. It's the desert, though. What are you thinking? Look at this long-term forecast. Look at this coming up. Okay, we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, looking like a good part of the week. 110, 109, 107. Oh, and the weekend still, look. Angry clouds, angry colors. Watch out for the weekend. Maybe find some place to hole up, someplace with a pool, maybe someplace with some air conditioning. You could just like sit in there and go, oh, chill me. It's your 7-day forecast. That's the weather. KPVM. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks so much, John. And watch out on the air conditioning, though, not during the big, peak hours. Well, while most schools are starting the year with distance learning, a school for homeless children is bucking the new normal by getting back in the classroom for full in-person instruction. For these youngsters who rely on physical, mental, and emotional support their school offers, their classrooms are simply too essential to remain closed. Kim Martinez reports.
We've just spread out through the whole building.
This is what the new COVID-era classroom looks like. School has officially started in person at Positive Tomorrows, a school for homeless children in Oklahoma.
We'll be serving meals in there. They'll have lunch in there. You know, you have to sanitize everything in between.
Look, he's holding a cup.
Relieved that school has finally resumed, 6-year-old Jaden Gray's mom says this place has been their one and only lifeline for the last 2 years.
They're all like that we have here.
With the school's help, they got back on their feet, found housing, Jaden got caught up in school, and Leanna found a full-time job. Then COVID hit.
When the schools were instructed to shut down, just in addition to the impact on the education for the children, it also caused all kinds of issues regarding other things that schools provide, primarily food.
It's a bold move to teach face-to-face. According to a recent survey, 71 of the nation's 120 largest districts are going all virtual to start the school year.
So why take the risk? All of these other schools are starting with their students online. Why not just do the same with your families?
They get left behind when you do the virtual learning piece. Because they don't have computers, they don't have internet access, parents aren't computer literate.
Since Positive Tomorrows is not part of the public school system, they rely solely on donors. At the moment, an unpredictable source of funding.
I would really hate to have to close things down or, start turning kids away.
But she recently received word that pandemic emergency funding would be extended to private schools. That could mean a $6,500 scholarship for every Positive Tomorrow student.
Just to speak directly to Governor Stitt, I'm really pleased with the year funds that he's granted to private schools. Thank you so much for that.
With a little financial help and a whole lot of courage.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
A self-soothing pat on the back might be the most appropriate launch to this new school year.
You guys are so smart.
Kim Martinez reporting.
Thanks so much, Kim. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. And from all of us here at KPVM-TV and A's Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next newscast.
Good night.
Good night.